What's going on, y'all? Khalil here. In this video, we're going to be meal prepping some oven-baked, plant-based quesadillas topped with fresh guacamole and pico de gallo. This is a high-protein, high-fiber, fully plant-based meal prep option that you can prepare in way less than an hour. They taste amazing and they're also kid-friendly. So let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to cook our ground meat and black bean mix in this skillet here. Now, normally for this, we would use these pea protein meatless crumbles that you see here. They're a great thing to have on hand. We always keep this in our pantry. But for the sake of today, we are actually going to use these ground quote unquote beef crumbles made by Abbott's. This is a really good brand. They make some great plant-based meat products. This one is 18 grams of protein per serving and very simple, no complicated ingredients, which is what we really like about this. And so we're going to use this for this specific meal prep. All right, so to start us off, just going to add some olive oil. And then I'm going to start off sauteing these red onions for a bit. Red onions, or just onions in general, especially when we're cooking meat in the skillet, just adds a nice flavor. So we're going to let this cook for a little bit, and then we'll add our ground beef crumbles, and then we'll add our black beans here. Okay, so our onions are now a bit translucent. And now I'm going to go ahead and add our ground meat. Again, this is what we're using. I'm using 2 of these since, again, we're meal prepping here. That's 2. All right, and I have my heat on about medium here. I'm going to cook this around for about 6 to 7 minutes till it starts to brown a little bit. One thing to watch out for while cooking these is that sometimes these meat grounds can get stuck to your skillet. So I like to try to keep it moving around as much as possible while cooking. And if you need to add a small amount of extra oil or water to help keep it from sticking, feel free to do so. All right, so our ground meat is nice and browned. So now I'm going to add our can of black beans. And I'm also going to turn our heat to low. So here are our black beans. I went ahead and drained and rinsed these. I'm going to add these in. I'm also going to add a bit of water to the mix. All right, I'm now going to season these up a bit. I'm going to use a number of different things, starting off with some salt. Also have some garlic powder. We like garlic powder, as you can tell. Next, we're going to add some cumin, or cumin, however you pronounce it. And as you can see, I'm not measuring any of these seasonings, but we'll make sure to have some more specific measurements in the description. I kind of like to just eye things for the most part. This is smoked paprika. Good rule of thumb is to start off with maybe half of a teaspoon or so. And then you can add more of whatever you'd like as you go. Gonna add some of this ancho chili powder. Last but not least, some ground black pepper. And now add a bit more water. Just to help it form almost like a little bit of a gravy, so to speak, so that it's not too dry. Add as much or as little as you prefer. Again, this is just to help moisten it a bit. We'll do just a little taste test, see if there's anything else we want to add more of seasoning wise. Oh yeah, that's already tasting pretty good, I must say. Just gonna add a little bit more of our garlic powder, a little more of our cumin, and more of our smoked paprika. This is one of our favorite seasonings to use. We use it in a lot of dishes. Adrian really likes this. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and add a little more pepper as well while we're at it. Why? Because we can. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bake these in the oven once we fill up our tortillas with this. This is our filling. And so when it's baking, it is going to lose some moisture naturally. So we just want to make sure it goes in with a little bit of moisture. Okay, one more taste test. Oh yeah. I say we are good to go, folks. All right, so now we're just gonna cover this up. We'll take it off the heat and let it sit, let it rest and continue to just simmer. And then we'll also get ready to prep our tortillas to fill it up with this. Okay, so next we're gonna fill up our tortilla shells using the ground meat and black bean mix that we just made. So I am first going to use a little olive oil spray here to spray our baking tray, and I just preheated the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm gonna give this a quick spray. And then these are the tortillas that we are using, these Mission whole wheat tortillas. Each one of these is 4 grams of protein and has 5 grams of fiber. Now, my plan is to make 6 of these, and I realize, fortunately, we only have 5 of these, but that is okay, because I do have 1 extra of a different type of tortilla shell. It's not whole wheat, but it is still Mission. It's this organic version that they have. Not whole wheat, but I'm just going to use 1 of these to give us 6 because I wanted to make 6. Of course, can't forget our cheese that we will be using for this will be this shredded Mexican blend by Daya. We don't often get plant-based shredded cheeses. Adrian actually doesn't often like them too much. I'm okay with them from time to time, but when we do get one, this is the brand that we usually go for. So it melts really well. Obviously dairy-free. So all we're gonna do is I'm just gonna, on each one of these, I'm gonna place a little bit of the cheese on one side, then take a good heaping spoonful of our mix and spoon it right in. Okay, and then I'm gonna add just another little sprinkle of the cheese on top, because just like with any quesadilla, the cheese on top is gonna help the tortillas to stick. All right, and we'll go ahead and fold this in half like so. I'm just going to repeat this same process with our other tortilla shells. Just a little bit of cheese on the bottom. Oh, it's starting to flip up. Biggie. Some of our mix. It's nice when you can make something that, again, doesn't take too much time, not too complicated, and you can make a lot of it or cook a lot of it at the same time or at one time. So, you know, typically when we make a quesadilla, we'll just cook it in the skillet, which, don't get me wrong, we really do like. There's nothing like a good quesadilla cooked in a cast iron skillet, but we can really only just do one at a time. So by baking these, we make things a lot more efficient, because we can bake, as we're going for here, about 6 at one time. All right, now for our last one. All right, so this last one doesn't want to stay down for us, so just going to use this little toothpick here to help us out. Oh, it's being stubborn. Being a bit stubborn. All right, I think it's going to stay for us. There we go. All right, so before we put these in the oven, just gonna give one more quick spray of our olive oil here, because we want the tops and the bottom to crisp up, have a nice browning on them. All right, these will go into the oven at 375. I'm gonna just keep an eye on them. Gonna give them a quick check after about 7 to 8 minutes. Once I check the bottom and see that they're good and done, probably just gonna give them a quick broil on the top to get the browning on the top layer. But again, totally up to you. So we'll put these in the oven. Okay, so while our quesadillas are baking in the oven, we're gonna go ahead and make our toppings. And want to let you know that these are totally optional. You don't have to make these, but I figured I'd just go ahead and show you a little bit of what we're gonna include on ours. So we are big guac people. I love making guac. So I'm gonna do some fresh guacamole, have our avocados here, and then also have some fresh Pico de Gallo that's, I already have kind of most of the ingredients in here. I just have to add the lime juice and salt. So we'll do our fresh guacamole first. Go ahead and slice these avocados. I'm using 2.5 avocados here. Have this really nice tool that we've used this for years. Shout out to Adrian's sister, our sister-in-law, for getting this for us. Just this 3-in-1 avocado tool. Makes the slicing and removing the pit a whole lot easier. All right, scoop these out. Okay, if you know me, I don't like leaving anything behind when it comes to the avocado. Just gonna remove that little bit there from the stem. Gotta get it all. Gotta get it all out. Making guac is actually really easy if you've never made it before. Same with making pico. They pretty much contain kind of the same ingredients for the most part. It's just in this case, the avocados, some lime juice, cilantro. You can add onions and tomato if you want, which we're going to add in this. Then a little bit of salt and pepper if you feel. All right, now we have our lime. I'm going to get the lime juice in here. All right, since I just have 2.5 avocados, I'm not going to squeeze all of the juice out of the other half of this lime, because I don't want it to be too limey. It doesn't take much. So I'm going to just mix all of this around, let the flesh of the avocados touch that lime juice. All right, so we're not ones to make guac in the blender. I like using an old-fashioned potato masher here. And just a little bit of elbow grease, just to mash it up. Because we like it to be a little chunky. Sometimes when you blend your avocados for guac, it can get runny. But just mashing it up just leaves it nice and chunky. Looks to be a piece of skin there. All right, that's what we're looking for. That's what we want. All right, so now what we're gonna do is add some of our chopped veggies, just to show you all what we have here. This is just some of the chopped veggies that are made for the pico as well. So just some chopped onion, cilantro, tomato. Gotta have pretty much, I mean, the onions, tomato are kind of optional, but it's hard to really have a true guac without cilantro. You at least have to have cilantro. And a lot of people like adding other things in it, like jalapeno. We typically don't add jalapeno. All right, now to top it off with some salt. We like adding some garlic powder to ours as well, just a little bit. And a little pepper. All right, we'll just take our spoon and mix this up. All right, and there's our guac. Beautiful, nice green and red color. All right, set that off to the side. Then also finish this pico off. All right, so for this, I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons or so of lime juice. So I'll just do the rest of this other lime half. Fortunately, that's the only other lime we had, but that's okay. Still have some lime juice in the container here, so I'm just gonna squeeze some of this in. All right, we'll do some salt. And some pepper. And we'll just give this a mix. All right, and then I'm just gonna let this sit covered for a few minutes just to allow the acid from the lime juice to help soften, let all of the veggies marinate in that lime juice solution while our quesadillas finish cooking. So we're about ready. All right, y'all, so our quesadillas are finished, and check them out. They are looking nice and brown. You can hear that nice texture on top. They browned really nicely. So I went ahead and instead of broiling the top, I actually just decided to leave these in the oven at 400. So correction, I didn't put them in at 375. It was at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes. And I didn't flip them or anything. I just let them bake as is, and they got nice and done on both sides. I was able to check the bottom side as well. And they, crisped up. Can't say that word very well. They crisped up nicely, as you can see here. And so we are now done and ready to store the rest of these and then make our first plate and enjoy. All right, so we're ready to serve up our quesadillas. I'm gonna start off, I'm gonna place this on a bed of lettuce. Just some chopped lettuce, real simple. Why? Because we try to get greens in as many things as possible. It's one of our main approaches to how we eat. All right. And for our star of the show. Yes. And as you can see, it's kind of falling out from around the sides a bit, but hey, I don't mind that at all, one bit. And then now, for our good topping, is gonna add a nice big scoop of our guac. One more for good measure. Okay, 2 more for good measure. I like guac. Can you blame me? And then just to add a little more color, got some of our fresh Pico. Look at that, folks. Now that is a meal. Super easy to make. Again, was not complicated at all. All it really involved was making the ground meat and bean mix, and then stuffing that into the tortillas. And then again, the toppings are optional. You could just eat the quesadilla as is if you wanted, and that would be totally fine. As I mentioned as well, nice amount of protein and fiber. Depending on how much you add into each tortilla, it will affect, of course, the totals of the macros and the nutrients. Based on about how much I put in each of these, each of the quesadillas come out to about 21 grams of protein per the quesadilla itself, and about 8 grams of fiber. Those numbers will go up, especially for the fiber, depending on the amount of the toppings that you're putting on. So for the toppings that we have here with the guac and the pico and the lettuce, that fiber total, I would say, goes up to about 10, perhaps even a little bit more, because avocados have quite a lot of fiber in them. But really, really solid meal, and now it is time to try it. Gotta enjoy the finished result. Some of our good toppings on here. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, that is solid. Such good flavors. Yep, I'd say 10 out of 10, folks. Hope you all enjoyed this one. If so, let me know down in the comments, and make sure to join our email community in the link below so that you can be the first to catch more plant-based recipes and longevity tips just like this one before anyone else does. We'll see you in the next one.